Welcome back. This is Business Center and you are watching Metropole TV. My name is Kelvin Nyakundi and today we are talking about mushroom farming, and we have Roussos Demise Odhiambo here, who is the founder Mushroom Kenya and Demi Farms, and he's here to just talk to us more about mushroom and how he came to start this two entities that I've mentioned here. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
All right. You are the founder, Mushroom Kenya and Demi Farms.
Yes.
How did this start?
Okay, so everything started from the mushrooms. This is the main thing we have done for a long time. So I founded Mushroom Kenya in 2015 and then started along with mushrooms. So along the journey, I've been interacting with so many farmers doing different kinds of farming. So I also started doing some other kinds of farming. And so it was very difficult to incorporate those kinds of farming into mushrooms because mushroom is already mushrooms. Yes. So trying to incorporate another thing into mushroom became a very difficult thing. So I decided to register another company, which is now Demi Farms, that focus mainly on indoor farming in an urban kind of setup. So we do snails farming, redwood farming, black soldier fly farming, microgreens. Those are things that are just done in an indoor setup. Yes.
All right. And so you focusing on mushroom farming, how has it been in the country? What is its contribution to the country's GDP, if I can be specific? How is mushroom farming in Kenya as at now?
Okay, so according to the data from the NAFIS, which is National Farmers Information Service, there's a research that had been done by them that really indicated that Kenya produces 500 tons against a demand of 1,200 tons. So this is a data that translated means that mushroom pumps into the economy $3.3 million, which is 372 million into the economy. So that is the impact on the economy. But it also comes with employment opportunities because over 1,000 farmers are directly employed through mushroom farming. So that is just the direct impact on the economy. But there are also some indirect impact that it also has to the economy. Yes.
And what can you say are some of the major types of mushrooms that people are used to in Kenya, and maybe the ones that you get to get a lot of income from as founder of Demi Farm? Yes.
Okay, so in Kenya, as per se, the most common type of mushroom is the button mushrooms. This type of mushroom here. It makes 90% of the market right now. The second most common type is also the oysters, mainly the white oyster mushroom. So oyster is a family of mushrooms, but it differs on colors. There is white oysters, gray oysters, pink oysters. So oyster is the second most, and then there are also medicinal mushrooms are also coming at a very fast speed because people are coming into terms to understand the benefits of mushrooms. So there's shiitake, this is Reishi Ganodama.
This is
a mushroom, yes. So the scientific name is Ganodama lucidum, but it's sometimes called Reishi. That is the Chinese name because it's common amongst the Chinese people. But the Japanese people call it Lingzi. So if you hear of Lingzi, you hear of Reishi, you hear of Ganodama, it's just the same thing. So there's Reishi, there's also turkey tail, which is also a medicinal mushroom that is also, gaining traction in the country. So those are the most common type of mushrooms that are done here in Kenya: button, oyster, shiitake, reishi, and turkey tail.
And now I'm curious to know what are some of the conditions that you can say a mushroom is favorable to be grown under?
Okay, there is ideal conditions for these mushrooms to grow. And even us as farmers, what we're just trying to do is we're just trying to replicate a natural environment for mushroom to a kind of, regulated environment. So most people always know, it's just public knowledge that mushrooms grow when it rains. There's a reason why it grows when it rains, because the conditions that we require is, one is temperatures, and we need low temperatures. So when it rains, the temperatures are low. We need more humidity. So when it rains, the humidity is high. And the carbon concentration, there is also light vis-a-vis darkness. So these are the conditions that the mushrooms needs to grow. So for us as the mushroom farmers, we're simply playing a game of balancing these conditions. So at this time you need light, at this time you need darkness, at this time you need more, you know, more humidity, at this time you need more low humidity. So that is just what mushroom farming is all about. You are understanding these conditions and then you balance them.
Ah, okay. And so when we were young, when you walk from school going home, you would look around and see mushrooms growing on top of maybe something that is decomposing.
Yes, trees.
You see maybe them growing on top of logs that have stayed on the ground for a very long time. So how can we tell the difference between a good mushroom that you can, because guys used to pluck them and say, this one I'm going to cook today. So how can you differentiate between a poisonous mushroom and one that can be able to be consumed?
Okay, this is a very big question that most people ask. They are both edible and non-edible mushrooms. But for your information, all of them are farmed. You can farm edible like we do. You can also decide to do non-edible mushroom, poisonous ones. So, but to know the difference of poisonous and non-poisonous mushroom, the most and sure way to do is to do a lab examination. But in most cases, that is not possible.
Yeah.
So you need some tips on how to easily know.
So
for example, if I just go to the forest today and I find some mushrooms, for me as an expert, there are 3 ways I would identify if this is edible and this is non-edible. One, if you see any mushroom with red dots on top or even on the stem, that is sure bet that mushroom is deadly. You don't even try. But it's not that all of them are deadly. There are some that are actually edible, but majority of them are poisonous. The other way to know that is, for example, this is the cap of mushrooms. This is the stem, the roots, we've just cut it. So if you remove the stem like that, there's this part that has the seeds. So I don't know whether you can see it.
Yes.
So this one, we say this is the gills. So if you get some mushrooms in the wild, just remove the roots, take this gill, put it on like let's say a white paper and allow it to stay for some time. If you see white powder coming from it, that is an indication that that is
Can we show people at home at least so that they may see
yes
in between?
So this is the gills,
Yeah.
This is where the mushroom seeds is. So like this is button mushroom. If you put this on a paper and leave it for a day, you will find black powdery things. So that is like the seed. But if you find that that is white, that is a clear indication that this mushroom is poisonous. Another way you can do is by using the sense of smell. So poisonous mushrooms normally smells very, I don't know how I would describe, but in an irritating way. So if you smell them and you find some irritation smell, you immediately know that that is a poisonous mushroom. And the last way to know is you can take a small, but this is not the best way to know. You can take a small piece of it and then try to taste. If you find it is bitter, it has a sharp taste, like that of hot pepper, just run for your life.
So I'm really, so now you've tasted it, and maybe
you don't take it. You just taste
so
it.
that small one cannot.
No, it cannot do anything.
All right.
Yes.
So you've said the one that has red.
Yeah. So if you see red dots, that's a sign.
That's a sign.
If you take the cap and put it on a white paper, it gives white powdery. That's a sign. If you do that through the tasting, that's and you find it's bitter or it's hot, that's a sign. And if you smell and you also realize it has some irritating smell, that's also a sign. So these signs are not always 100% perfect. There are some that would have what you are despising, but they're still edible.
Yeah.
So that is why the surest way is still to do an examination at the lab.
All right.
Yes.
And now there's this other, I don't know what to call it, but you've said mushroom.
Yes.
So explain to me about this. How is it grown? Just explain to me about this.
Okay, now, before I explain how this is grown, I want you to understand that mushrooms, unlike all other plants, are grown differently. And there's so many types of mushroom, and all of them are almost grown differently. Today, if you know how to grow button mushrooms, sure bet you don't know how to grow this, because they'll grow completely different. One of the things that differentiate this mushroom is the growing medium. We would call it the soil. But in the mushroom industry, we say it's substrate. So, for example, this is reishi mushrooms. So this mushroom grows on trees. It grows in dead, decomposing trees, mostly. Okay. Like if you look at here, you will see this was a tree.
Yeah, it was
attached to a tree.
Yes.
But then, so if you were to grow it, you have to prepare a log of specific tree, mostly hardwood trees.
Okay.
And then once you prepare this, we have the spawn, which is the seeds. They are like, you know, they are plugs. Then you drill holes and then you put the plugs. But now the problem is preparing those logs takes time, and also getting these logs is very difficult. So what we do is we grow them using hardwood sawdust. So you go to these guys doing, let's say, carpentry or wood workshops. You tell them I need hardwood. They keep it for you. You go take it, prepare, and then you plant. So it's easy. So this is done on sawdust. So you only need the sawdust. You will treat it, and the seeds you introduce it, and then you just do the management.
And is this one edible, or?
This is very edible, but it is not edible in the same sense like the other mushrooms. I always tell people that this is like sweet banana. It is edible, yes, but you can't cook it. You have to ripen it before you eat it. So the same with this, you have to grind it, and then you can use it in tea. So people have been wondering, mushroom tea, mushroom coffee, how does it come? So this is what is used to make the tea and the coffee. And it's pretty expensive, because a kilo would even go for 16,000 Kenya shilling. So in that case, it's never sold in kilos. It's only sold in grams.
All right. Yes. At least now we've gotten to know what the mushrooms on logs do.
Yes,
and,
yes.
Yeah, and also you had mentioned about growing poisonous mushrooms. What is the importance of growing the poisonous ones?
A good question. So, by understanding that mushrooms can be poisonous, it really relieves us of some things that really cause nuisance in our life. Like, have you ever wondered at one point, where do rat, for example, rat poison to kill the rat, what is it made of? It's made of a poisonous thing. So this is an example where poisonous mushroom can be used to make some of these poisons, like you know, rat poison and all that. But on strict condition that if you're growing those mushrooms, there should not be any taste, or you don't eat it until the time it goes to the factory. Let's say if they're manufacturing this product. Yes. So it's done in other countries. It's not really gotten to a country like ours. But I think with time we'll head there.
Oh, all right.
Yes.
Really insightful. So how has the mushroom industry been, or what are some of the challenges that you've experienced being a mushroom farmer and now being the founder of these companies? How has the pandemic affected mushroom export industry?
Oh, really? The pandemic, the COVID-19 really affected, you know, all sectors. Agriculture also affected. I must say that when this thing struck, it really did a big blow to us, because one thing, mushroom is very, you know, it is very perishable, so it goes bad very fast. And then when this happened, like the hotels closed and all that, so the uptake just went to the floor. And you can imagine if you have it, it goes bad in the next 3-4 days. The hotels have closed, people have run home. So it really crippled almost the industry, because most farmers, including us, we stopped for some time. But since the country started opening up early this year up to now, there has been a rising, you know, a comeback for the industry. And in fact, we have also noticed there is also so many farmers who have also joined this, because you know, some were in employment, they lost their jobs, they have some little savings, they're like, I want to do something to make some extra income. So since we started reviving things, the uptake has gone up so high. Actually, at the moment, there's no mushrooms. We receive so many calls, you know, we need, you have like very many buyers. You just try to choose from who to buy from. You say you delayed the payment, you just relax. This guy is paying on time, you know. Like even this morning I went to Quick Mart, and oyster mushrooms we normally sell at 100 to 150. This is called a punnet. This is a 250 gram, but we say it's always a punnet. So for oysters, this kind of packaging, a punnet is always 100 shillings to 150. I've gone to Quick Mart today, it is 299 shillings. So it's almost double the, you know, the price. I think it's also because we're entering into the festive season. So since the COVID, it really brought us down, but now things are picking up, and it's even picking better with even more farmers joining.
And now, what are some of the, as we head towards wrapping up in the conversation, what are some of the benefits of being a mushroom farmer? Like, what is that one thing that you can tell someone, you want to start this, this is what you need to do, this is what you'll get after getting into the mushroom business?
Okay, mushroom indeed, if you're doing it as a business or just for your health purpose, because some people just produce to consume. If you're doing it for your health, actually it's loaded with a lot of you know, health benefits. It has a lot of nutrients, like 3.7% proteins. It's low in fats and all that. So you get to reap a lot of health benefit, and it helps in so many health areas like weight loss, it boosts immunity and all that. But if you're doing it for business purposes, this is now where the money is. Mushroom is a bit capital intensive and, you know, labor intensive, but it has money. If you do it the right way, you will be smiling to the bank. Yes, so it creates employment. It can also be a source of you know, income, even on the sides, because this is something you just do in your house. Even if you're working, you go work, and then at your spare time you do the farming. Yes.
And some of the challenges.
Well, there's, like any other industry, there's a lot of challenges actually for mushroom. One of the main challenges is the expertise to produce and to do the management at the farm, especially the pests and diseases. That's a big challenge for most people, because this thing, again, it's very sensitive to very many things, and then it's so diverse. There's so many options you can choose from. That is one. The second one is lack of you know, proper farms or getting a house, ideally. Like in Nairobi, there's so many houses you can rent, but nobody will allow you to do mushroom inside. So trying to get a land or a house is a big challenge to most farmers. The other thing is it's very expensive to do mushroom. I normally tell people, for example, if you want to do mushroom, number one is you have to build a house. That alone is not an easy thing. Yeah, so that is another challenge, the house. There's also other challenges like transportation and you know, trying to maintain the quality, because while you take it to the market, they need it crystal white. That would mean this is transported in a special way, like having refrigerated trucks. If you don't have it, it gets there when dirty and all that, and then they just buy at whatever price they say, this is dirty and all that. So those are some of the challenges. Yes.
And now the last question, and as we also want to conclude this, what do we expect now going forward, Mushroom Kenya and Demi Farm? Going forward, what do we expect from you?
Okay, so about the Mushroom Kenya, which is now interlinked with the Demi Farm, in all these years working with farmers, we've realized that the three biggest challenges that most farmers face is the market, that is one, capital, and information. Some people have one or two of these and lack the other.
Yes.
So this is what our model is now really focusing on. And we're putting so much emphasis on the information bit of it. So we are going to still continue producing mushrooms and all that, but we're also investing so much in trying to provide information to farmers. And that is why we have now registered Demi Agritourism Farm. So it's a demo farm whereby you can see all aspects of farming from one place. Like I always say, if you come to our farm, you'll just find button mushrooms and oyster mushroom, end of the game. But we now want to have a phase whereby if you want to learn about mushroom, if you just get to the mushroom section, you see everything. It doesn't matter. We now have to work with other farmers. We do what we can do. The ones that we can't do, we invite other farmers to come and showcase. I always use poultry to explain this better to farmers. If you're a farmer, you want to do poultry farming today, it will take you so much time to collect information, and you have to go to this farm, this farm, this farm, before you put everything and decide what you do. That's a waste of time, resources, and all that. But if you one day go to a poultry farm and find everything you need about poultry, this person is demonstrating kienyeji, broilers, broilers, everything, and then somebody is demonstrating feed formulation. So you get there, see everything, and decide for yourself. So that is exactly the model we want to do going forward.
Wow, that is really nice. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, our time is much spent, but I really want to thank you for coming and telling us more about this. That has been Roussos Odhiambo, the founder, Mushroom Kenya and Demi Farm, and he has just been telling us more about how they are going to move forward and how the market has been. And I think he has brought me this for, because we have, it's the festive season. So this one I'll take for myself. I'm not giving anyone. This one is mine. So thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy your holidays.
Okay, thanks so much also for having me to the show. I hope you and the team here also enjoys the holiday.
We sure will. So this one is for us and the rest of us. So
this one I'll show you how to prepare it anyway. But it's for you.
It's for us, right?
Yes.
So those at home, we are going to have a feast after this. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to go for a short break. We'll be back with innovations and agri-facts.